That night, the knocking started, soft taps at 2:14 a.m. The first night, I ignored it. The second night, I looked, no one was there. The third night, I saw her, a woman soaked in rain.
You are listening to the Fearcast. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill.
The rain wouldn't stop. It clung to me from the moment I arrived at Rosewood Hostel. It hammered against the decaying windows, soaked the crumbling streets, and hissed against the flickering neon sign that buzzed outside my room. I used to stare at that sign, thinking it was some kind of forgotten landmark like me. Forgotten, left behind. I came here to disappear, to leave behind my suffocating family and Daniel, the man who wanted to own me. The hostel was perfect, cheap, damp, and collapsing. Nights were quiet except for the noise inside my head. I scrolled endlessly through social media until I started thinking about Adrian, the one bright thing I abandoned before I came here. We met in a bookstore, both reaching for the same battered horror novel. He made me feel safe, but I left him without warning. I told myself I didn't deserve him. Then one night, I found her, Elena Dries. No friends, no posts, just a pale profile photo with her face turned away. Out of curiosity, I accepted her friend request. The next morning, she messaged me, "Hey, remember me? I stayed with you at Rosewood. I need to come back." I told her she had the wrong person. She replied instantly, "No, it's you. I'm on my way." That night, the knocking started, soft taps at 2:14 a.m. The first night, I ignored it. The second night, I looked, no one was there, but a puddle of water glistened outside my door. The third night, I saw her, a woman soaked in rain, wearing a gray coat clinging to her body, her head bowed just enough to hide her face. She whispered, "Let me in, Mia. I've come back. You promised." I told her she had the wrong person, but she whispered again, "Don't you remember the hostel? Don't you remember the man? He left us there." I backed away in terror. The next morning, my social media had changed. My cover photo was now the Rosewood Hostel sign. My bio read, "Back where it started." I hadn't changed it. My phone buzzed with a message. "I'm inside." Wet footprints led from the door to my wardrobe, where I found only a damp gray coat hanging inside. Desperate, I texted Adrian. He called me immediately. I told him someone was looking for me, someone I didn't remember. He promised to come to Rosewood Hostel. He never made it. That night, the knocking returned, louder, more violent. Her voice was closer, her hand now resting on the doorknob. Adrian stopped answering his phone. I deleted my social media accounts, but they reappeared, filled with new photos, blurry images of me sleeping, empty stairwells, long hallways. I called my sister. She told me I'd called her 3 years ago from a motel, crying, saying I left someone behind. I didn't remember that, but the memories rushed back, rain-soaked highways, a faceless man, a locked bathroom door, a woman screaming behind it. I had left her there. The knocking became pounding. Another message appeared. You left me there, Mia, but now I'm here, and you can't leave. I peeked through the peephole. No one, but wet footprints now stretched past my bed and into the bathroom. I followed them. Written in the fogged mirror, I never left Mia. I waited for Adrian in the lobby all night. He never came. His phone was disconnected. His social media was gone. The staff said they saw me wandering the halls, whispering to someone no one else could see. I changed rooms, changed floors, even hid in the basement. But the knocking always found me at 2:14 a.m. I saw her everywhere, in reflections, in windows, in the stairwell. Her gray coat dripping water onto the concrete. I received calls from non-existent numbers. Only wet, heavy breathing on the other end. One night, the fire alarm rang. I followed wet footprints to an emergency exit that led to a forgotten service hallway. On a rusted door handle, I found the words, Room 14, always. I ran. I fled the hostel, moved to a distant apartment with no connection to Rosewood. But it didn't matter. The gray coat was hanging in my wardrobe the day I arrived. My social media accounts reappeared, posting photos I never took, always with the same caption, back where it started. Emails arrived from unknown senders, one with Adrian's name, containing only a photo of Rosewood Hostel. I heard knocking again, soft, polite taps, always with puddles of water left behind. I see the gray coat every day. I never brought it here. I don't know how it arrived. I deleted my accounts again, but they came back, this time with videos. Clips of me sitting on my bed, but always from impossible angles, corners of the room I couldn't see. I smashed my phone, but the posts kept coming. Photos of me sleeping, photos of the hallway outside my door. Sometimes I hear her humming now, soft, slow, a tune I don't recognize. I lock every door, every window, but the knocking always finds me. I never left her, and maybe she never left me. I deleted my accounts again, but they came back this time with videos, clips of me sitting on my bed, but always from impossible angles, corners of the room I couldn't see. I smashed my phone, but the posts kept coming. Photos of me sleeping, photos of the hallway outside my door. Sometimes I hear her humming, now soft, slow, a tune I don't recognize. I lock every door, every window, but the knocking always finds me. I never left her, and maybe she never left me, but it didn't stop there. One night, I heard the knocking again, not at the door, from inside the walls. a soft, patient tapping from behind the plaster, like someone waiting on the other side. I pressed my ear against the cold wall and heard her whispering, as if she was living just inches from me. Her words were faint but clear. "I found you, Mia. There's nowhere else to go." I started ripping the wallpaper, clawing at the walls, convinced she was hiding inside them. When I finally punched through the thin plaster, there was nothing except a damp gray coat stuffed into the hollow space. I burned it. I watched it go up in flames in the bathtub. I thought it was over. For 2 nights, the knocking stopped. I thought I was free. Until the 3rd night, it came back, louder. Not from the door, not from the walls, from the ceiling. The soft, deliberate taps now echoed directly above me. I moved to the living room to escape it. The knocking followed. I ran to the kitchen. It followed. I slept in the bathtub with the shower curtain drawn. At 2:14 a.m., the knocking started, this time from beneath me. I stopped sleeping entirely. I started filming myself at night, desperate to prove I wasn't imagining it. In the footage, I saw myself tossing and turning, and then I saw her, standing over me, dripping, watching. I rewound the footage again and again. She never came through the door. She was just there, like she had always been there. I boarded up the windows, changed locks, bought new phones. Nothing worked. One morning, I found muddy footprints in my apartment. They weren't just wet, now they were muddy, heavy, as if she was dragging something with her. A thin trail of dirt led to my closet, where I found the gray coat folded neatly on the floor. I started seeing her outside, in crowds, just beyond reach, always looking away, her face just out of view. Once, I followed her through the streets, down alleys I didn't recognize, until she vanished in front of a cracked mirror leaning against a dumpster. When I turned to leave, I saw her reflection standing behind me in the glass. When I turned in real life, no one was there. I started receiving packages, sealed envelopes with no return address. Inside were printed photographs, blurry images of me sleeping, walking, brushing my teeth. In every photo, her silhouette lingered in the background, watching. One night, I woke to find my apartment door wide open. On the hallway floor was a stack of photographs neatly arranged. Each one showed me sitting in my apartment from different angles, as if someone had been standing in every corner at once. And at the center of the stack, a single photo of Adrian, his eyes blacked out with thick, wet ink. On the back, someone had written, "He's with me now." I tried calling his number again. For the first time in weeks, it rang. On the 4th ring, someone answered, but they didn't speak. They just hummed that slow, horrible tune I'd heard in my dreams. I screamed into the phone, but the humming continued, soft and patient, until I hung up. Now the knocking happens constantly. Morning, noon, night. There's no escape. The sound follows me when I leave the apartment, when I sit in cafes, when I ride buses. People around me don't seem to notice it. Only I can hear it. I haven't seen my reflection in weeks. Mirrors don't show me anymore. They only show her. I left the apartment 2 days ago. I don't know where I'm going. But last night, I passed a shop window and saw her again, walking just behind me. Her gray coat was soaked through, her footsteps leaving faint puddles across the tiles. I spun around. Nothing. Just empty streets. But the window reflected both of us. Her standing so close behind me, I could feel the cold drip of water soaking through my shirt. I can't run anymore. The messages keep coming. Let me in, Mia. You promised. You belong with me. I think I understand now. I never left her behind. She's always been with me. And maybe, just maybe, I was the one who was knocking all along.
You have reached a checkpoint. To save your progress, click the subscribe button.
I always knew something was wrong with the building. Not the creaking pipes or the flickering lights that's student housing for you. It was the way the 5th floor was sealed off, padlocked, boarded, and forgotten. When I first moved into Grayson Hall, they told us the 5th floor had been condemned years ago, unsafe, off limits. It didn't bother me at the time. I had other things to worry about. My name's Ethan, sophomore. I'm just a guy trying to survive college, chasing deadlines and caffeine highs. The real horror in my life was supposed to be my crushing student loans. Not this. It started after the fire alarm went off in the middle of the night. Everyone evacuated into the freezing courtyard, groggy and annoyed, but there was no smoke, no fire, just a false alarm. Except when we came back inside, the elevator panel was different. The 5th floor button was lit. Everyone laughed it off. The 5th floor didn't work. The doors wouldn't open. It was just a glitch. I told myself the same thing until it happened again and again. Every night, same time, 2:03 a.m. The 5th floor would light up. The elevator would creak upwards, and when it came back down, the panel would show that someone had pressed it from the inside. I started seeing her, a girl, pale, always in the corner of my eye, always near the elevator. Her hair was long and dark, her clothes looked like they belonged to another decade. When I turned to look, she was gone. The more I noticed her, the more things spiraled. My nights became restless, the pounding on my door at 2:03 a.m., always stopping when I checked. I started hearing whispers in the stairwell. I thought I was losing my mind, and then the messages started. Handwritten notes slipped under my door. 5. Come up. Let me out. I tried showing them to campus security, but by the time I brought anyone back, the notes were gone. The guards laughed me off. Paranoia, sleep deprivation, overwork. But it wasn't just me. Liam, the quiet guy 2 doors down, pulled me aside one evening. Have you seen her too? His eyes were sunken, his hands shook. He told me about forcing the elevator to the 5th floor, about seeing the fully furnished hallway, about hearing the girl ask him to bring someone else. He left. He never returned. His room? Emptied overnight. Administration said he transferred. No trace. I couldn't let it go. That's when I met Tyler, the bold transfer student who thought the stories were hilarious. He dragged me into it. We pried open the elevator panel, bypassed the system, and went up. The hallway was still intact, dusty, but like someone still lived there. Room 505's door creaked open on its own. Inside, there were photos taped to the walls of people from our dorm, sleeping, eating, walking. Photos of Tyler and me, taken tonight. The elevator dinged. She was there, soaked, pale, face obscured by wet hair, smiling too wide, with black, hollow eyes. She whispered, "I found you." The lights burst. Tyler and I sprinted, her pounding footsteps chasing us. The elevator doors slammed shut just in time. As we crashed into the ground floor, we swore never to return. We packed up, moved across campus. For a few days, it was quiet. Then, the pounding returned. Not at my door, at Tyler's. He stopped answering my texts. When I went to his room, it was empty. A note was taped to his door. I found someone else. I moved again. Changed schedules, avoided elevators. But every night, at 2:03 a.m., the elevator still stops on my floor. The knocks are back, soft at first, then louder. Another note appeared under my door. "It's your turn." I can hear her now, just outside, knocking, whispering, "Stay with me." And the worst part? I think I want to open the door. One night I couldn't take it anymore. I shoved a chair under the doorknob and barricaded myself inside. But the knocking never stopped. It echoed through my bones, like it wasn't coming from the door at all. It was coming from inside the walls. I covered my ears, blasted music, but I could still hear her humming that same soft, hollow tune I'd heard in my nightmares. My phone buzzed, a text from Tyler. I hadn't heard from him in weeks. The message was just a live photo, a blurry, dark hallway. The elevator doors wide open on the 5th floor. In the corner of the frame, his reflection in the metal, his mouth forced into a smile, his terrified eyes locked on mine. The timestamp, 2:03 a.m. I stared at the image, my heart racing, and then another message appeared. "She's behind you." My breath caught. I could feel cold air on the back of my neck. I spun round. Nothing. The knocking stopped. The room fell completely silent, except for the faint buzz of my phone as another text came in. This time, it was from an unknown number. "Don't leave me alone again." My stomach twisted as I realized I never told her no. I never told her to stop. I just kept running. The knocks started again, louder now, insistent, angry. The lights flickered. The shadows in the corners stretched, creeping toward me. My phone slipped from my hand, clattering to the floor as I backed against the wall. I whispered, "Please, just leave me alone." The humming stopped. For the first time in weeks, there was complete silence. Then a new note slid under the door, slowly, like someone on the other side was savoring the moment. I picked it up with trembling hands. "Too late. You already let me in." I didn't leave my room for days. I thought if I ignored it long enough, it would stop. I stopped eating. I stopped going to class. I sat by the door for hours, listening. No knocking, no humming, nothing. Maybe it was over. Maybe it moved on to someone else. But then, I started seeing the notes in other places. In the stairwell, in the library, in the cafeteria. Just small torn slips of paper, but always in the same handwriting. "I'm waiting." I even found one tucked inside my wallet. "Come up." I couldn't sleep. I'd hear her footsteps pacing outside my door, dragging slowly, deliberately, stopping only when I held my breath. When I worked up the nerve to check, the hallway would be empty, but the elevator would always be waiting. Doors open, the 5th floor button glowing. I knew I shouldn't step in. I knew this wasn't a normal haunting. It was something else. Something that wanted me to come willingly. But the worst was when I started seeing Tyler, not in person, in reflections, in the glass doors, in the vending machines, in the elevator's steel walls, his face pale, gaunt, eyes sunken, mouth stretched in that same forced smile from the photo. I even heard him whispering in the stairwell once, "It's not so bad, just come up." And then the elevator would arrive, doors parting to an empty box. Only I knew it wasn't empty. It wasn't a ghost chasing me anymore, it was waiting. One night, desperate for answers, I left my room and returned to the lobby. It was 1:55 a.m. I sat facing the elevator, waiting. I thought maybe if I faced it, it would stop. Maybe if I didn't run this time, I could break whatever was happening. When the clock hit 2:03 a.m., the elevator dinged. The doors creaked open. I expected her to be there, but it was Tyler. He looked just like in the reflections, pale, almost see-through, but his eyes pleaded with me. He lifted his hand and mouthed the words, "Please." Behind him, the dark hallway of the 5th floor stretched endlessly. I wanted to run. I wanted to scream, but my legs moved on their own. I stepped into the elevator. The doors closed. The ride up was silent. I felt the hum of the elevator, but the floor indicators didn't light up. When the doors opened, the hallway was just as I remembered it. Dusty, old, intact. Tyler was waiting. "You came," he whispered. "I told her you would." "Tyler, what is this? What's happening?" He looked past me, eyes dark. "She's lonely. She needed someone else." I turned and she was there. Close, too close. I stumbled back, but the elevator doors were gone. There was no elevator anymore, just an endless hallway behind me, endless hallway ahead. Her mouth twisted into that horrible smile. "Stay with me." The walls around me pulsed, breathing, like something alive. Tyler backed away slowly, his face blank now, his movements stiff, like a puppet. I ran. I sprinted down the hallway, the lights flickering wildly as the walls seemed to stretch further. Her footsteps echoed behind me, soft and steady, never rushing. She didn't need to run. She already had me. Doors on either side swung open as I passed, glimpses of rooms where shadows moved just out of sight, whispers following me, calling my name. I slammed into a stairwell door, but there were no stairs, just another hallway leading deeper into the floor that wasn't supposed to exist. My phone buzzed in my pocket. With shaking hands, I checked the screen. A new message. "You're home now." I dropped the phone. The humming started again, closer this time. Around me, inside me. I don't know how long I've been here. The lights never fully go out. The hallways never really end. There are others here too. People I've seen around campus, faces I thought were missing, people I thought had disappeared. Hear them walking the halls at night, calling out for someone new. And sometimes, when the elevator dings, I hear new footsteps arriving. Sometimes I catch glimpses of new faces, people who think they can run. But you can't run. Not forever. Eventually you press the button. Eventually, you come home.
You have reached a checkpoint. To save your progress, click the subscribe button.
I was 16, the summer we moved to Marrow Creek. My mother called it a fresh start after my dad passed, but I knew it was just her way of running from everything that reminded her of him. She rented a lakeside cabin for us, far from the city, far from everyone I knew. It was quiet, too quiet, the kind of quiet where you start to hear things you're not supposed to. There was only one other teenager in town. Her name was Riley. She was sharp, curious, and just as miserable to be stuck here as I was. We became inseparable within days, mostly out of mutual boredom. There wasn't much to do except wander the pine woods, ride our bikes on cracked roads, and hang around the lake that everyone else seemed to avoid. The lake had a strange reputation. People said it was cursed, that it took things. I thought it was just a small town ghost story, until Riley told me she'd seen something floating near the dock, a wooden door, perfectly upright, standing on the lake's surface like it was resting on solid ground. Over the next few days, we kept coming back. Sometimes the door was closer to shore. Sometimes it was further away. Once, it vanished completely, only to reappear the following morning. Riley, braver than me, dragged out an old kayak to get closer. "Maybe it's some weird art installation," she said, paddling toward it while I stayed on shore, my heart racing. She reached the door, touched it, and vanished. The kayak sat there, empty. I screamed her name until my throat burned, but she was gone. I ran to town, begged for help, but no one seemed surprised. They avoided looking at me, mumbled about things that shouldn't be touched, and dismissed me. The next morning, the door was gone. Riley's family moved out within the week. I couldn't stop thinking about her. I dug into the lake's history and found records dating back a century. Stories of the door and disappearances, always tied to Marrow Creek. Survivors wrote about the door returning for them, and suddenly I knew it was coming for me. At first, I thought I was imagining things, shadows shifting in my room, soft knocking on my window, even when it was locked, puddles of lake water appearing in my house. One night, I heard steady knocking coming from my closet. When I finally opened it, there was nothing but wet footprints leading out and down the hall. I told my mom everything. She thought I was having a breakdown and booked me a therapy appointment in the city. I never made it. The door came back, standing in our front yard, slick with lake water. I froze, watching it from my window. Each night, the knocking returned, on the walls, the floor, the windows. My mom couldn't hear it, but I did. And when I listened closely, I heard Riley's voice whispering from the other side, begging me to open the door. One night, I heard my mom's voice outside my room, but I knew she had left for work. The voice kept calling me to open the door. I barricaded myself inside, but the knocking grew louder, never stopping. When I opened my eyes in the morning, the door on the lawn was gone, but my bedroom door was cracked open. Wet footprints trailed inside. I begged my mom to leave Marrow Creek, and we left in a panic. For a while, life seemed normal. The knocking stopped. I started to believe I was safe. Until I found it again. In a park, miles from Marrow Creek, standing quietly among the trees. The door had followed me, and now, every night, the knocking starts again. I hear Riley's voice calling from the other side. Mia, it's safe now. Please, let me in. Tried moving again, city to city, state to state. But no matter where I went, the door found me. I'd wake up and it would be outside my window, in an alley near my school, or once, horrifyingly, in the middle of my living room. Always the same door, slick with lake water, standing perfectly upright, waiting. And always at night, the knocking would return, steady, patient, impossible to ignore. I stopped telling people. They wouldn't believe me. They'd look at me the way they did when I talked about Riley, like I was making it all up. But the door was real. It was always real. I stopped sleeping. I stopped eating. My world shrank to a desperate cycle of waiting for the door to appear and trying to outrun it. And then, one night, something changed. I started seeing others, strangers in bus stations, people sitting alone in cafes, their eyes sunken, their hands trembling. I could tell they saw it too. We'd make brief eye contact, an unspoken understanding passing between us. I wasn't alone. The door had many victims. One of them, a man named Gabriel, approached me outside a train station. His voice was hollow, like someone already halfway gone. He told me he'd been running for decades, and the door never stopped following him. "It's not just a door," he whispered. "It's a promise. If you see it, it marks you. It will follow you, always, until you open it. And when you do, you become part of it." I begged him to tell me how to make it stop. He shook his head. "It doesn't stop, but you can pass it on." "What do you mean?" I asked, desperate. He leaned in, his cracked lips forming a chilling smile. "You just have to show it to someone else. Let them see it. Let them hear the knocking. Then it will start following them instead of you." My stomach turned. Was that what Riley had done to me? Did she see it first? Did she bring me to the lake on purpose? My memories twisted, replaying that day, her insistence that I come see the door, her strange calmness as she paddled toward it. Had she already made her choice? Gabriel placed his hand on my shoulder. "You'll understand soon." And then he walked away, disappearing into the crowd, as if he had simply dissolved into the air. That night, the door was waiting in the hallway of my apartment. The knocking was louder, more urgent. When I pressed my ear to the wood, I didn't just hear Riley anymore. I heard dozens of voices, pleading, crying. Some whispered my name. Some are begging me to set them free. I'm trapped now. I know the door won't leave. I see it every day, closer and closer. Sometimes I wonder if I should pass it on, show it to someone else. Maybe I could finally be free. But then I remember the look in Riley's eyes when she vanished. I remember the weight of those wet footprints in my room. And I remember what it felt like when I first heard the knocking. I think it's too late for me, and I think the door knows that I'll open it soon. Sometimes I dream of what's on the other side, and sometimes I think it's already inside.